So what we'll do next is just reformat our homepage slightly, and we'll also add something to our navbar so that we can see the logged in user displayed there as well. So let's head back to VS Code and we'll start with the homepage. And what we want to do is get our logged in status and our user object so that we can display a welcome message to that specific user and just provide them with a button to go to the activities rather than the login button. So we'll need access to our user store to do this. So we'll say const root store equals use context and we'll say root store context, and then we'll say const is logged in and just destructure the properties we want from our user store and the user object, and we'll say this is equal to root store dot user store. And what we'll do is we'll add an expression and we'll say is logged in, and there's a user object, and effectively we're doing pretty much a similar thing here. So I'm just going to copy these inside here, and of course we need a fragment for this as well. So I'm just going to add a fragment and cut our button and our header inside here and just reformat. And if we do have a user object, then I'll just change the content in this and add some backticks and say welcome back and then dollar and user dot display name. And we'll keep it as a link, but instead we'll just pass them to activities and then say go to activities. And we want to make this a ternary actually, so I'll specify a question mark there, and if they're not logged in and we don't have a user object, then we'll display the other welcome message and the login button. So I'll just add a fragment again and cut the button and the header inside here and paste this in. And we'll keep the link to login as well, and I'll just copy this button and paste it below. And we will have a register button soon, or a register form soon. So I'll just add the link and the button inside here as well. And if we go take a look, then we can see we've got our login and register. And if we click login, and we still need to sort this out as well, but our form isn't looking too great either at the moment. But I'll just log in and say password. And we log in, and what we want to see is the user information on the navbar as well. So let's head back to VS Code, and I'm just going to open up the navbar. And once again, we want to bring in our store into this. So I'll say const root store equals use context and say root store context, and then I'll just destructure the is logged in and the user equal to the root store dot user store. And what we'll do is we're only ever going to see this particular page when we are logged in, because if a user isn't logged in, then we won't let them get past our home page. And what we want to display is the user's image and a drop-down menu so they can choose from various options. And what we'll do is we'll just make sure we've got a user object. And then inside here, it's not that verbose, but just to save us a bit of typing so we can concentrate on what we're really doing here, I have a snippet for this. And it's just a menu item that contains our image and our drop down, and that's S_13.6.1. And let's bring in the imports we need. So we'll use the add all missing imports. And we also need to bring in the image here as well from Semantic UI. And just reformat. And we've got an on-click for logout here, which we haven't implemented yet. So I'm just going to remove the on-click for this. And what we have here is the menu item, an image, a drop-down menu. And we will have a link eventually to the user's profile, which we haven't implemented. So this is just a string of text that is going to take us to our not found page at the moment, and then the option to log out as well, and we need to add the functionality for that. But let's add the elements that we do have access to. So in our source for the image, this is going to be the user.image or the assets user.png, which it will be this because we don't have a user image yet. And for the text in the drop-down, we'll specify this as user.displayname. And if we go take a look, and we've been logged out again effectively because we've reset our application where we made changes. So let's head back, let's log in again. Let's log in as bob@test.com and PA$W0RD. And what we should find is that we see the user with the image, and we see the drop-down menu here as well. And if we click on the home page, then we can see Welcome Back Bob and go to Activities. The only problem is that if we refresh our page, then we lose our logged in status because our store has been reset, and we're still not getting our activities back either. So we'll start to address those particular issues next, and we'll take a look at what to do with our token and how we can maintain our login even after a browser refresh. And we'll take a look at that next.